Hello, this is Brink, and let's delve straight into it. Delves, the brand new feature of this expansion, have been getting a ton of attention, both from the community and from Blizzard. But here's the real question. Is all the criticism fair? Or are we as a community setting this feature up for failure with unreasonable expectations? Let's delve deeper into whether Blizzard has missed the mark or if we need to rethink our demands. First, let me kick off by saying that delves are a fantastic addition to the game. It gives people a reason to log in and experience some well-made solo or group content, whatever tickles your fancy. But it's designed to be a genuine challenge, not something to be mastered or outgrinded within the first few weeks of the expansion. First, I was afraid it would be another Torghast, but thank God, it really doesn't come close to that endless tower experience. It gives plenty of nice rewards, a mount that comes in a form of a plane that you can customize, and it even offers high item level epic loot. So much so that it's now compelling Raiders and Mythic Plus players to shift their focus and dive into delves. Now, loot isn't everything. There has been a lot of discussions around recent hotfixes applied by Blizzard to balance delve content in World of Warcraft. And rightfully so, it has not been perfect at all. Specifically between solo and group play. The fixes aim to address issues where group play was unintentionally easier than soloing. This led to unintended consequences like extreme damage in group delves, people, even tanks, getting one shot, etc. Now, I completely agree with a lot of the points made by the community. Blizzard definitely has some work to do on balancing, and they've been pretty responsive about fixing issues as they pop up. And they have to make it a good experience for everyone on every class. Let's rewind a little and talk about what these hot fixes were intended to solve. Before the fixes, there was a significant imbalance between solo and group delve experiences. If you played solo, especially as a tank, the mobs seemed to hit harder and have more health than if you added another player to your group. This made delves unintentionally easier for groups and far more punishing for solo players, which was never the intended design. Blizzard stepped in with a series of hotfixes, aiming to level the playing field by adjusting health scaling and damage output in group scenarios. But as often happens with rapid hotfixes, it created new problems. Suddenly, group delves became significantly harder. Players started reporting outrageous damage numbers, like being one shot for millions of damage in 5-man delves. Even tanks with top-tier gear were struggling to survive these extreme hits, which clearly isn't Blizzard's intention. The fixes aimed at making group play more balanced with solo content, but instead, they swung the pendulum too far in the other direction. It's easy to see why the community has been so vocal about these changes. World of Warcraft players expect content to be challenging, but they also expect it to be fair. Getting one shot by a boss or mob in group content feels frustrating and unfair, especially when it happens unexpectedly. For many players, it feels like Blizzard missed the mark, and they're understandably upset. That said, it's important to recognize that Blizzard has been quick to respond. They've acknowledged the unintended consequences and are actively working on more fixes to make delves enjoyable for both solo players and groups. This kind of responsiveness is encouraging, even if the path to perfection is a bit rocky right now. But here's where I think we need to adjust our expectations a little bit. There's been an outcry from the community to make delves a perfectly balanced experience across all classes, and make the balance between solo and group content to be the same. And honestly, I think that's asking for the impossible. Let's break it down. Think about how different classes are designed. Hunters and warlocks, for example, have a massive advantage. Why? They bring their own tank in the form of pets. which allows them to handle mobs more easily. Now, compare that to a mage who has to face tank mobs without any pets or summons. Use its movability like blink and rewind time to avoid being killed or being slapped in the face. There's no way those two classes will ever have the exact same experience in solo delves. Tank classes are another great example. Some tanks just do way more damage than others, which means they'll clear content faster. That's going to give them an easier experience compared to other tanks who are more about soaking damage, but deal less of it. And then there are healers. Take shamans, for instance. They have much better damage output compared to something like a disciplined priest. And they have an interrupt on a very low cooldown, which means soloing delves will naturally be easier for the shaman, let alone if we compare the tanks versus the healers. The point here is that class diversity in WoW is both a strength and a challenge when it comes to balancing content. We have always accepted this in the years when it comes down to player versus player content and outworld content. Different classes simply bring different tools to the table. There is one more issue that often gets overlooked, and that is the mindset players bring into delves. Many players are approaching delves with unrealistic expectations. For instance, bountiful delve rewards on Tier 8 offer a 603 item level epic item as a reward. Some players think they can stroll into these high-tier delves with, for example, a 550 item level and have a smooth, easy run. And when this doesn't work out for them, run to the forums and complain about the difficulty. That's simply not how these challenges are designed. Just like with Mythic, Plus, or Raids, you can't expect to walk in undergeared and have a successful, smooth experience. Delves demand preparation. This shouldn't be something you can sleepwalk through with subpar gear and no consumables. If you're attempting higher tier delves, especially around Tier 8 and higher, you need to take them seriously. This means making sure your gear is where it should be, just like you would before stepping into Mythic Plus. You should also have consumables on hand, like flasks and food buffs, to give yourself the edge you need. And most importantly, don't forget those all-Gary healing potions. In some cases, they can be the difference between life and death, especially when you're faced with mobs that hit unexpectedly hard. It's all about setting yourself up for success. If players start treating delves with the same level of respect and preparation as they do other in-game content, the experience will be much smoother. Delves are meant to be a challenge, especially at higher difficulty, so going in underprepared is only going to lead to frustration. Having the right mindset, one that expects to be challenged and demands that you come prepared, it will not only make delves more enjoyable, but will also help Blizzard's balancing efforts feel more rewarding. Consider this. If the pendulum swings too far in the other direction, people would be up in arms that it's too easy. So, while Blizzard is working to balance delves between solo and group play, it's simply unrealistic to expect that solo gameplay will feel exactly the same for every class. But that doesn't mean Blizzard should stop trying to make a better experience for everyone. They've already shown that they're committed to making delves a long-term feature in the game. In fact, they've stated that their goal is to keep delves a rewarding experience even after patch cycles, through the whole expansion. And I think that's a great approach. There's definitely room for improvement to make it for every class an enjoyable experience. And in my opinion, it's clear Blizzard is putting in the effort. That said, we as a community also need to manage our expectations. Asking for a perfectly balanced solo experience for every class is, frankly, unrealistic. WoW is a game with massive class variety, and those differences are part of what makes the game exciting. The key is finding a balance where solo players can still enjoy delves without feeling like they're at a major disadvantage. I believe Blizzard is on the right track, but we need to give them a little room to adjust things. Balancing content and massive multiplayer online, like WoW, is always going to be a process. There are so many variables to consider, and as we've seen, even small tweaks can lead to unintended results. So while we keep giving feedback, let's also recognize that balancing for every class is incredibly complex. To wrap things up, delves are a new and exciting addition to WoW. But like any new feature, they come with their own set of challenges. Blizzard is working hard to balance solo and group play, and while they haven't hit perfection yet, they've been responsive and open to making changes. As a community, we need to keep giving constructive feedback, but we also need to accept that perfect balance might not be achievable, especially when it comes to soloing content across so many different classes. So, what do you think? Is the community asking too much when it comes to solo play balance in delves? Or should Blizzard keep pushing for a more even experience across the board? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and happy delving.